Hey everyone, David here from multitool.org. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a multi-tool that I've had for a little bit. This one being the Nextool Sailor Pro. Nextool Sailor Pro is a budget offering from the Nextool company out of China. The specifications for the Sailor Pro, for those who have not seen one, it's a 14-in-1 multi-tool that comes in at 4.09 inches in length. It has 1.732 inches this way width and a depth of 0.866. For the millimeters, that would be 104, 44, and then 22, respectively. Tool comes in with a weight of 11.182 ounces or 317 grams. The pliers, the main implements of the tool are made out of 420 J2 stainless steel, except for the pliers, which they are said to have 20 CR13. The multi-tool itself, and we'll take a look at the tool first, and then we'll look at the what's in the sheath here. Multi-tool itself is the only multi-tool that I have in my collection that has locks on the outside that lock the tools in both the open and the closed position. Which when I got it, it was a little different to grasp at first, because I'm used to just being able to grab a thumb stud, rotate out my blade, lock it, and get to work. Having to manipulate the tool in your hand so you hold the unlock and rotate out the knife was a little unusual. I'm not so sure that I need to have my tools locking in the closed position, but I guess there may be some sort of reason for it. The tool via the outside only has two main one-hand opening functions, both being blades. There is a very tiny serrated blade. I think maybe if they had swapped the saw, which we'll get to in a second, and the fully serrated blade, maybe we could have had a better fully serrated blade. But they made up for it with a very nice one-hand opening knife blade. It kind of a sheep's foot style blade. We see this on some other tools like the Victorinox Spirit. On the new Roxxon Flex also has a sheep's foot type blade. I find them to be very utilitarian in nature. Not having a very pointed tip to them, I find it a little bit easier to do certain tasks that might otherwise abuse a blade without having to worry about snapping the tip off. Plus, I like having a tip that's faced downward. I can feel that when I'm cutting, without having a tip that, sweeps up to a point, I feel like I can apply more pressure to the tip without having to bring the tool around. That's just personal preference on that. As far as the outside opening tools, all while holding the lock open, of course. On this side, we have a pair of scissors. Pair of scissors here, they don't cut too bad. They tend to get things hung up a little bit though. I have cut a bunch of different things with it, and way back in the back part of the scissors, I tend to get stuff kind of hung up in there for some reason. There's no visible burrs or anything. For some reason, these scissors just happen to only cut real well if it's towards the tip of the scissors. Also on this side, we have a standard flat driver, and the other tool we have, if I can get it out here, is an awl/bottle opener. I don't usually see a bottle opener and an awl mixed together in the same tool. The awl is usually by itself, with the bottle opener and can opener being combined or completely being separate. but I do appreciate this very aggressive awl. The acute angle and very sharp tip allow it to make penetration in wood and boring a hole really easy. So the times that I've used this, it was real joy to use and didn't have any issues with getting that task done. On the other side of the Nextool Sailor, same side as the one-hand opening blade, the sheepsfoot one, we have a saw. The saw works really good. It takes a moment to get started. I had to do a few pull cuts to get the channel started in the wood before I could execute the back and forth motion. It is a bidirectional saw. I know some multi-tools are either one direction or the other, but a bidirectional is the most efficient, I believe, and I prefer that on my multi-tools. Also on this side, we have two other implements. We have a full 3D Phillips and a very small file. The Phillips works great. It being 3D in nature, I didn't have any issues getting a good grip on screws. It is sort of a blend between Phillips 1 and Phillips 2, so it was able to work in both those screw size heads with no issue whatsoever. The file doesn't do a very good job. The file's cross-cut or straight-cut pattern is not deep enough, or maybe cut aggressively enough in order to really remove material. I feel like it did remove some material during use, but some of that is probably also due to the fact that the file is so small that I don't have a whole lot of surface area to work with in order to accomplish the filing task I need. Trying to get that item very close between the handle and the edge of the file without running out of space is definitely difficult. Moving on to the inside of the tool, we have a spring-loaded pair of pliers. These pair of pliers, whenever the website states that it's 20 CR13, I don't know if they're talking about the pliers themselves or the replaceable wire cutters, which, oddly enough, aren't replaceable. They have put what is a stronger set of wire cutters into the plier head, but they neglected to make them removable, which is kind of weird. I almost would have done a cast plier head by itself without the removable cutters, as opposed to making them and not having them removable. Nextool did solve this later on in some of their other tools, like the Flagship Pro, I think it is. Those just require a Torx head to be swapped out. Pliers work good as far as pliers go. It is neither blunt nor needle nose, sort of a hybrid between. I didn't think I had enough grippage, if we can use that word, grippage. Didn't have enough surface area in my pliers to really get a grip on nuts and other stuff that was rounded in nature, due to the opening here is not really small, not wide enough in order to get a good purchase on bolts and nuts and whatnot. Without the pliers being angled out some, which then will splay out those handles out some. The bigger the object, the more it is. I do feel that the Nextool's handles splay out a little bit further than other multi-tools that have my collection. Say like tools with a smaller angle, as far as how far the handles come together. Say like some of the Zog multi-tools, the handles are definitely closer together. Leatherman, I like Leatherman rebar. So this is not a great example of a good splayed handles in order to grab objects that are wider than what the pliers can accomplish. But as far as teeth go, the pliers themselves do a good job. There's plenty of definition in the pliers and plenty of surface area to grab stuff with, even though they don't have a wide area in the middle. It is fine enough on the end to pick up some very minute stuff. The teeth do come together. The plier tip does come together, although unlike some other multi-tools, there is no fine teeth on the very end of the pliers. So even though they do come together, there's not a whole lot of surface texture to be grabbing items at the very end. As far as the wire cutters, the non-replaceable wire cutters, they do an okay job. I cut some tin and some other items that were hardened pretty good. They required a considerable amount of pressure to cut stuff like cabling, small wires, stuff like that. I found it did more bending than it did cutting, which probably means that these aren't very sharp on the end. I'm not sure if I can get in here good enough, but they are angled, but they're not very precise. Whenever I try and cut something small, like an envelope or something, you can tell where they immediately want to bind as opposed to trying to cut the paper or other objects. So maybe anvil cutters would have been a better choice for this, or they should have milled these cutters closer together so there was less space between them, or maybe make them a little more pointed. I'm not sure which. Can't talk today, guys. Have to forgive me. Overall, as far as the tool itself is concerned, I think it's a great tool for the money. I think it retails for about $30, $35. My lock over here doesn't seem to want to extend all the way. It kind of stops short. Before the dollar price, the price point, I think it's a decent price. There's a lot of competition in the budget multi-tool market, and this kind of fits in that little niche for somebody who wants to get into multi-tools or wants a multi-tool for work and just doesn't have a lot of money to spend, especially in today's economy or market where people are scrambling for every last dollar to try and pay their bills, etc. So this would definitely be a good budget option for them. Included with the Sailor Pro is a sheath, not a very good sheath. It is very flimsy, kind of cheap, doesn't have any rigidity to it. Just a very generic sheath, nothing to write home about. I'm definitely one to rave about a really good sheath. I want one that will hold up, one that's easy to carry, one that's just low enough on my belt. Makes retrieval of the tool easy, which this one, it sticks out just enough that it's easy to grab the tool and retrieve it. Velcro is also pretty weak too. It seems to grab pretty well here on camera, I'm sure, but using the tool repeatedly over and over, I just felt that it didn't require a whole lot of leverage or pull to release the tool out of its holster. Included with the tool in the back of the sheath, they include a bit kit, which will fit on the end of that full 3D Phillips. And this is probably one of the only shining things of this tool. It does have some things that are good, some are bad, but I like having a dedicated quarter-inch driver on the end of my tool. And this, if I put it on the right end, well, what am I doing wrong here? I don't know why it wasn't working a minute ago. But anyways, it slides onto the end of your Phillips driver and then allows you to insert a quarter-inch bit on the end, and it's magnetized. So you could use the ones that are included in this bit kit, or just include your own, and that way if there's something that the Sailor Pro couldn't tackle with whatever it has on board, you've got extra ones. This wide Phillips definitely comes in handy, as well as some of the other bits to make that the Sailor tool is lacking, like most common found Allen heads, smaller Phillips, smaller flats, stuff of that nature. So if you're looking for a budget multi-tool option, and looking for something a little different, keeps your tools closed in the closed position, and replaceable wire cutters that are not replaceable, and go ahead and check out the Sailor Pro from Nextool. So what do you guys think? I know I kind of fumbled on this one a little bit, but if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up down below and let me know how I did. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.